Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Sports Mecca right here on Rocky Top. I'm Adam Vrzal. This is Jacob Botter, and it's still March, and it's still March Madness season. We are winding down the season. National championship is tonight. But let's recap our Final Four real quick.
Let's get to it.
Gonzaga, South Carolina. Gonzaga wins 77-73. Tell me what your thoughts about the game.
So this game, it was really not that back and forth. Gonzaga had nursed about a 10-point lead for most of the game until near the end, where South Carolina went on this ridiculous 16-0 run. And one of the plays of the game, and we'll see it as we get to it right here, Nigel Williams-Goss had such a good game. But one of the plays of the game for me was Zach Collins ending a 16-0 streak by bricking a three home, basically. You'll watch it bounce all across the rim. It is a crazy shot. It's crazy that it went in, but it saved the season for Gonzaga.
You know, I agree with you. Nigel Williams-Goss truly had an outstanding game, 23 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. But, you know, one of the people that I really noticed that came alive during that game was Zach Collins. He had 14 points off the bench. He had the game-winning rebound. And, you know, I feel like that, you know, was the best part of it. And, you know, so let's move into another game, North Carolina versus Oregon. North Carolina wins the game 77-76. So what are your thoughts on that game?
Right, this game was back and forth the whole time, and what a great basketball game between two really good teams. Great performance from Tyler Dorsey for Oregon, as well as his teammate Dylan Brooks, although Brooks did foul out right before the end of the game. And really, that was too much for Oregon to handle. Chris Boucher, one of their best players and their best rebounder, their best 7-footer, was out. He's been out with a torn ACL since the end of the season. And then once Dylan Brooks fouled out, that spelled doom for Oregon. They didn't have anyone to control the glass, and Kennedy Meeks got those two, or North Carolina and Kennedy Meeks got those offensive rebounds that helped them win the game.
Without a doubt, Kennedy Meeks definitely the player of the game. Another player that stepped up for North Carolina, you know, Justin Jackson, 22 points. You know, with Kennedy Meeks, you know, rumors that he's going to the draft, rumors that he's going to be a pretty high pick. What do you think about Kennedy Meeks in the NBA?
I'm not so sure he'll be that high of a pick in the draft. I'm not sold on his athleticism for the NBA level. He's a big dude. He's 6'9", 280, and such a good offensive rebounder, such a good defensive rebounder too. 14 rebounds versus Oregon, none bigger than that tip out at the end. And I'm just really not sure how well his game translates to the NBA. He doesn't have a perimeter shot, which a lot of teams are looking for from their big guys, especially some of those with less skills. So I'm not so sold on Meeks in the NBA, but I do think he looked so good against Oregon. He's bound for another really big game against Gonzaga tonight.
You know, I'm pretty sold on Meeks. You know, I think he's a presence on the floor. I think he gives his teammates the edge to play to their best ability. And you know, 25 points and 14 rebounds. You know, you can't ignore that. You know, I think it's a pretty good stat. Only time will tell whether Meeks turns out to be the real thing or not. But in my opinion, I think that he's going to make an NBA team very happy. So now that we've covered both our Final Four games, let's get to some picks. Okay. UNC Gonzaga tonight, 9:20. Who you got?
I think I'm going to take Gonzaga. Gonzaga they've looked so good all tournament long, and really I'm so glad that this championship is North Carolina and Gonzaga, because a lot of times with these single elimination tournaments, the best teams don't make it. They'll get upset. And we even saw that a little bit in this tournament, teams like Villanova going down early. But North Carolina and Gonzaga really very well might be the best two teams in the country. I think them and Villanova are the three best teams in the country, and I'm so glad that we get final between two really strong teams. I am going to pick Gonzaga. I think this game has three fronts to it that it's going to come down to. One is the point guard play between Williams-Goss, who I can't say again how incredible he was versus South Carolina, versus Joel Berry II, who is nursing an ankle injury. So I'm not sure how that one's going to go. I do like Williams-Goss a lot. I think he should outplay Barry. Big guys, we got Shemek Karnowski, obviously one of the best players in college basketball, winningest player in college basketball history. But then, like you said, freshman Zach Collins, the guy I really like for the NBA. I don't like Meeks as much as you do, but I really like Zach Collins in the NBA. You said 14 points. He also had 13 rebounds and 6 blocks. What a great performance from a good coming out party for the freshman. And then Jonathan Williams, the fourth-year junior, I guess, transferred to Gonzaga. I mean, those three big guys should do a great job. It's going to be a tough battle versus Meeks, and I think it is going to come at about even. What's going to decide the game, in my opinion, is North Carolina's perimeter defense versus Gonzaga's three-point shooting. And Gonzaga, we saw against South Carolina, they rely so heavily on that three-point shot with guys like Jordan Matthews, who's such a marksman, Williams-Goss. And it's going to be tough against a team like North Carolina, which got Justin Jackson, a guy in the Jimmy Butler type mold, who also should be a lottery pick. Theo Pinson probably will guard Williams Goss tonight. Pinson is a great defender. I think that's what's come down to. I hate that I'm picking against North Carolina because that means they're probably going to win. This is going to be such a good game tonight. I can't state that enough, but I am going to take Gonzaga.
I am going to go with my gut, and I'm going to pick the Tar Heels.
Okay.
They've been there before. I feel like that they're going to come out and they're going to be relaxed. They're going to be focused. They're going to be like, this is just another game, no big deal, whatever. But, of course, it is for the national championship. But I do think that it is going to come down to one factor. I think North Carolina and Gonzaga are evenly matched on almost every single aspect of the game, but it's ultimately going to come down to coaching. And in my opinion, there isn't a better coach in the nation than Roy Williams. I would love to play for Roy Williams if I was any good at basketball, but I can't hit a shot to save my life. So, a lot of people go play for Roy Williams. They love Roy Williams, and I just think that he is going to out-coach Gonzaga.
And that's totally probable. I could totally see it happening. Although I do think that is a little bit underselling Mark Few. He's done such a great job bringing Gonzaga into relevance. Now finally getting to this first Final Four, this first championship. I think Few will have his guys ready. I think this should be a well-coached game from both sides, and I'm really excited to watch it.
All right, North Carolina and Gonzaga tip-off at 9:20 tonight. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break. We got some volunteer sports on the way and an update on Pro Day where our former volunteers are trying to make a name in the NFL. Stay tuned.